Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be speaking to you today in my role as Campaign Director for Back Heathrow, and I believe I have about 5 minutes. Now, Back Heathrow represents residents, businesses and community groups campaigning for Heathrow and for the communities that rely upon Heathrow flourishing. We're one of the UK's fastest growing campaigns, with now more than 100,000 supporters. And here's where they live. And each of those red dots is not a resident, it's a postcode, which means that many residents may live under one of the red dots there, but it gives you some indication of, for anyone who says there's no support around the airport, I think that map clearly illustrates that there is. We seek a balanced debate in the communities around the airport because we feel that a vocal minority has dominated over the years and it does not reflect wider local opinion. And this is why we're naturally delighted with a unanimous decision by the Airports Commission to recommend Heathrow be allowed to grow and succeed. But behind the recommendation, there is a story that is only just starting to come to light. Of the 72,000 responses received by the Airports Commission during their public consultation, 82% came from local residents who backed Heathrow expansion, and the silent majority has indeed found its voice. The media and politicians are finally starting to wake up to the true picture in the communities surrounding Heathrow. Whilst there is opposition, of course, we know that there's opposition to a new runway, there is majority support for Heathrow expansion. And to be fair, it is something that Hague kind of graciously acknowledged, and John mentioned it earlier. There will always be dogfights over important infrastructure projects, but we believe the Prime Minister and the main political parties can back Sir Howard Davies's recommendation, safe in the knowledge that the majority of residents living near Heathrow will be right behind them. Teachers, postmasters, war veterans, shopkeepers, mums, apprentices, huge numbers of our supporters live under the same flight path as those who are opposed, and they do support expansion. They are saying yes to a golden opportunity that a growing and successful Heathrow would bring to West London and to the UK. Anti-Heathrow protesters over the years have often framed this debate as big business versus little people. But Heathrow is all about people. 114,000 people whose jobs depend on Heathrow, 250,000 people in the wider local area who rely on the airport economy, and 72 million passengers each and every year, of which the most frequent flyers come from local areas represented by the likes of Boris Johnson and Zac Goldsmith. Yes, Boris and Zac. From some of the media coverage, you wouldn't think that there are 648 other MPs in Parliament, would you? Make no mistake, don't believe the hype. Heathrow expansion is perfectly deliverable because it has an irresistible combination of significant cross-party support in Parliament and the backing of the majority of local residents, international airlines and UK businesses. And following the astonishing response to the Commission's public consultation, no serious politician, whatever their view on this, can now say that the majority of local people oppose Heathrow expansion. Remember in 2012, Boris Johnson roared that if Heathrow expansion was not completely off the table, it could cost the Conservatives the 2015 election. It was a myth, like the one about West London MPs losing seats because of Heathrow. Last week, it was fantastic to see so many businesses and organisations pile in to back the Airports Commission's recommendation for a new runway at Heathrow. But I would say this, the people on the screen here have been backing Heathrow for a long time. I'm incredibly proud of them and the thousands of others living in the communities neighbouring the airport who've passionately supported our campaign. They have stood up to be counted. This is merely the end of the beginning. Well, it is infrastructure. And my message to anyone who supports Heathrow expansion is that you must speak up and tell the government you want this to happen. And when you've done that, do it again and again. Politicians often need to justify their decisions in many ways. You need to help them. They need cover. They cannot be expected to do all the heavy lifting by themselves. Heathrow's opponents are fewer in number, but they can be very noisy. But if you're with these guys, please don't be shy. Speak up and back Heathrow. Thank you very much.